Hey, what is up? Welcome to the Hypothetical Comedy Podcast. I am Funky Sam Medina,
And I am Athena Rodriguez.
and we are here with comedian David Parsons. Hey, David, thanks for joining us.
Woo.
Oh, you're welcome. It's great to be with you too.
Hell yeah, hell yeah! It's great. It's good to talk to you. It's been a little while since we were able to just kind of hang out and talk. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
How's life in Texas?
It's cold at the moment. We've got one of those rare, it's kind of like winter in Texas is usually pretty mild, but then we have about 3 weeks where it gets down into the 30s, and we've got that this week. So it's pretty chilly out there.
That's fun.
Is it snowing?
No, it snows about every 3 or 4 years, and this doesn't look like it's going to be a snow year.
Wow, is that just Dallas, or is it all of Texas that doesn't snow very often?
That's all of Texas. In fact, like in the Panhandle, you get a bit more snow, but like most of Texas is pretty mild through the winter.
I remember,
Except for, like, a
I
couple
remember
of
like
weeks.
2020. I don't know if you were involved, but there was a huge, really bad storm in Texas, and it was like snow everywhere, and it was
Yeah,
like the worst you guys ever experienced.
yeah, that was the worst. And then the other time that I remember it being really, really bad was the only year in recent years that Dallas has hosted the Super Bowl. As
Whoa.
luck would have it, we had really terrible snow and ice storms that kind of shut the city down. And uh,
Wow.
and I remember that there were like some workers setting up for the Super Bowl were killed by a falling sheet of ice from the stadium. It was like,
Damn.
Oh, wow.
I did not hear about that.
I'm like, yeah, because Texas is normally mild, and I guess the NFL were like, hey, it's safe to have it in Texas. They got a brand new cool stadium, and it's
Yeah,
always
right.
on there. And then they come, and it's like the worst week on record.
Oh, dang.
Wow. What year was that? Do you remember?
I think
That
my
was
kid had
recent.
just been born, so it was probably like 2011,
Oh, that long ago? Okay, okay. I don't remember
2011,
that at all, but that's
2012.
crazy that people died just from ice falling on them.
You see, that's the thing about like in England, we talk about the weather constantly in England, but in England, the weather is just like normal weather. Hey, it's going to be wet, take your umbrella. In Texas, the weather will literally kill you.
Wow.
I mean, like the first week I was here, we had a tornado.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and people were like, go hide in the bathroom. I'm like, I'm not scared of a little bit of weather. And then
Like,
on the
I'll
news,
just get my umbrella.
right, on the news, there were these pictures of semi trucks being lifted up by the uh
Dang.
yeah, and they were like somebody was picking up Tonka toys and tossing them around, and they were these big ass semi trucks.
Wow.
Well,
All right.
that's.
Well, Texas is off my list
I know.
of places to live now.
You know, I like Texas. I've gotten acclimated over the years. I've been in Texas for 22 years now. 20 years. This is my 23rd year in Texas. So
Wow.
I left for Texas from England when I was 27. So we're almost at the point where I've been here for as long as I was in England.
Oh,
So
that's crazy. Like, half your life in Texas, half your life in England. Why? I do want to get into the England stuff, but why did you choose Texas?
the same way most people choose where to live, I fell in love with a woman.
Oh,
Oh,
Um,
dang.
I was a law student in England, and my school did a study exchange with the University of Texas, and I wanted to do some study abroad, but I didn't speak any foreign languages, so my only options were Texas, and then weirdly enough, the University of Ravaniemi in Iceland taught classes in English, so I could have gone to Iceland. So I was like, Iceland, Texas. I think I'll choose Texas. And
yeah,
my,
that's
you
probably
know,
the better choice of the two.
Right. And then but I had these visions of Texas being like, still the Wild West with like horses and shit, and all oil barons. It's like the two things that have given me an idea of what Texas was like were, the TV show Dallas,
Oh,
um,
wow.
and King of the Hill.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was kind of like that was my sort of like, but and then I found it was like really neither of those, although it's more like King of the Hill than Dallas. Uh, and then so while I was in law school over here, I did law school over here for a year. I met another law student, fell in love, and we ended up dating remotely for a couple of years, and then we got engaged, and I moved over here to get married. So
Wow.
and
You
then
happily ever after?
not quite. So we were married for 5 years, and then we had a pretty fiery divorce. It
Oh.
was my wife. I'll love her to this day. She was my first love, it was all kinds of sad, but she had some mental health problems. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and
Oh.
it went terrible. And when you've got like two lawyers who are in a marriage, and then the marriage starts to sort of get nasty, lawyers are sort of trained to dismantle their opponents.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean that right, exactly.
but then, I sort of stuck around because I had a job here, and I was licensed to practice law, and I hadn't got that far in England. I didn't sort of like have a law license for England, so I couldn't immediately get a job if I went back. And then I met at a dinner party. I met my I don't like to say current wife or second wife, because that implies like I've kind of like settled on forever wife. But
I
I met
usually I usually call Athena my first wife. We'll see what
so
happens.
He's very hopeful.
very hard. Well, I like, and anyway, I've been married to Lindsay, who is my wife right now, and hopefully forever. I married her in 2009, so this is our 14th anniversary this year.
Wow,
Um,
that's
and
awesome.
she's great. She's like, she's a nurse practitioner, so she's very sort of like, you think she'd be nurturing. She's not that nurturing. She's kind of very practical, but she's sort of like, I'm all like up in the air. I've got these sort of like big ideas, and she usually punctures my balloon just enough to sort of make it practical. So, she's the yin to my yang, or whatever that is. She's
Love
the sort
it.
of like, we balance each other. And then
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
last way you described my first marriage was balanced. So I need some balance in my life, right?
absolutely. Hell yeah. That's awesome, man.
Complementary colors.
Congratulations. I mean, 14 years, that's on the road to forever.
Yeah.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
I'm hopeful. I mean, she sort of like coped with my midlife crisis. So, I mean, it's ongoing, but like, some guys like buy a Lamborghini, or go running around the town with escorts. I got into stand-up comedy. Um, I think that's better. But my wife has certainly been tolerant of that. Even though sometimes she feels like she's like, comedy is my mistress and takes up too much of my time. But
Yeah, it's funny because I always say that I'm blessed because we share the interest of stand-up comedy. And if it
mhm.
was just me, I could, my partner maybe could find it annoying or taking up my time, things like that. So I am blessed that we both share the passion because she understands as much as I put into it. I understand as much as she puts into it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, my wife has her own hobbies. She's sort of
Yeah. I feel
she
like
she
anything would be good for your partner as long as it's healthy for them, like they're getting something out of it, because at the end of the day, they're going to be happy And then you don't have to worry about like them finding something outside of the home to do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. But I mean, it has been a big change because, like, I put a lot into comedy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm unable to do anything sort of like half measure, so it's kind of, you know, I go at it. I'm not a working comic. I think I was thinking about this the other day because one of the things I started doing is I've been teaching a comedy class.
Ooh.
Oh,
Um,
wow, that's cool.
I'm on staff at a comedy club here. I'm one of their producers. I put on stand-up shows. They're mainly improv, and I'm like their token stand-up guy.
Oh.
And so I've been producing a monthly stand-up show for them. And they didn't have any. They have like a comedy school, and they didn't have any stand-up offerings. So I was talking to the director of the training center. And I'm like, why don't you have any stand-up classes? And he's like, can't find a teacher. And you know, like we've had a few that don't want to do it. It's like, you know how stand-up comedians are. They're like kind of unreliable sometimes. So they'd had a series of people who'd done it for like a semester, and then it's like, nah, I don't want to do this again. So I've been as well as being a lawyer, which is like my day job. I've been an adjunct professor at a law school for 14 years. So I've got some teaching skills. So I'm like, you know, I think I could teach a comedy class. And he's like, would you? He was real excited. So I am now 3 weeks into my first semester as a comedy teacher.
Oh, wow, you just started. Congratulations on
That's
that.
Yeah.
awesome.
You want to plug that so how people can find out more information on that?
Yeah, well, so the organization that I work for is called Stomping Ground Comedy. The website is stompinggroundcomedy.org. You can find it if you just Google Stomping Ground Comedy Dallas, you'll find it. And we offer really, I mean, we put on shows. It's a sort of the shows are sort of like Friday and Saturday mainly. We occasionally have something on a Thursday, but mainly the shows are concentrated Friday, Saturday nights. We have 3 slots, so we put on shows at 7:30, at 9, and at 11, and at 10:30 every weekend. And they also offer training. They have like 6 or 7 levels of improv training. They train in musical improv. They train in sketch writing, and as of now, they've got 1 level of stand-up comedy taught by me. And my first class has been, I had 18 people sign up for it.
Wow, that's incredible.
We've had a couple of drops, and we may get a couple more because I had a little come to Jesus talk with the class on Thursday because people weren't sending in their homework. And I'm like, guys, in about a month's time, you're going to be on the stage telling 5-minute sets worth of jokes in front of your family. And if you don't start like building your bank of jokes from, in 2 weeks, I want to pick the 5 minutes that we're going to use. And then we spend the rest of the class practicing it and getting it up there. Because what a lot of people don't realize about stand-up is that it's first and foremost a writing discipline.
Yes.
They think that, I mean, you've seen this, Sam and Athena, that people think, oh, I'm a funny guy. I always make my friends laugh. I'm going to go on an open mic and I'm going to kill it. And they get up to the mic. They haven't thought about what they're going to say. They just think they're going to talk and the funny's going to come. And then it's crickets.
Yeah.
And then they never do it again and run in embarrassment. So a lot of stand-ups have sort of figured it out themselves, and they'll scoff at the idea of doing a class. But you can teach. I mean, you can't sort of like take a completely unfunny person and make him into a stand-up, but you can take people who have that sort of basic comedic ability and give them some tools that'll make them better.
Right.
Just teach them basic joke structure and how to do act outs and, the rule of threes. And
I've always said, you can't teach somebody to be funny, but you can teach them a joke structure.
Mm-hmm.
exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, and the work that I've seen from the students, some of them are. We've got to the point where we've first 2 weeks were like structure and not having much of their own work, but this was supposed to be the week where everybody brought in like 3 bits and we did them in class, and there was some genuinely good stuff. Like one of the techniques we highlighted was the incongruous third, which is where I've got one of those that I did. I use this as an example for the class. It's sort of, I've been sort of thinking of my Britishness since the Queen died, and I've been trying to reconnect with my British heritage by drinking lots of tea, watching reruns of Downton Abbey, and driving on the left. And that's an incongruous third. It's like the first item sort of sets up the subject. The second one reinforces it, and the third one is the twist that sort of like sends it
the silly part, the silly one,
in a silly direction.
Because it's still what you're going for. It's still this general what you're going for, but it would be ridiculous for you to drive on the left side of the road. Yeah.
And one of my students wrote this joke. He said, like, I'm just sort of recently divorced, and I'm getting back into the dating scene, and I'm having so much trouble with the apps. I haven't had any success on Tinder. I haven't had any success on Bumble, and I haven't had any success on Ancestry.com.
Nice.
I'm like, that's good. That's a legit joke. And
yeah.
This is a dude who had no idea that, he'd made his friends laugh, but now he knows how to make jokes. So
yeah.
Sort of, but yeah, it's kind of like it's both it's heartwarming, and it's really something that I love doing, but it's also scary because I'm letting loose like 18 people potentially on the Dallas comedy scene.
Yeah, you're like molding their minds.
Yeah.
You're like Dr. Frankenstein.
And if they tell like racist dick jokes, then like, what the hell was Parsons doing? I mean,
that's not mine. That one's not mine.
We've been focusing on the sort of like punching up, punching down, punching sideways rules.
Yeah, I mean, if you teach them that, then generally they probably won't do that.
It's like, hey, yeah, it's 2023. Homophobia is not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, it's a sort of like the subjects that you just shouldn't tackle. And you shouldn't tackle it because like it's wrong, but you also shouldn't tackle it because that's the quickest way to piss off an audience.
Yep.
And why would you want to alienate potentially half the people in the room? I don't. You've got to go for stuff that's personal and relatable. It's like stuff that you care about, that you have some kind of passion or interest in, but that is also accessible to the people who are going to be listening to you.
Right. I feel like there's a way, there's a way that I've seen it where they can structure the joke where it's almost unassumingly like political, and you don't realize it until you're thinking about the joke later after you left the show and everything. They're like, oh, dang. This whole time, I thought they were just telling this funny joke, and that one's a real thinker. Like you think on it. Like after, those are the stealthy ones that I think are fucking amazing. That's what an edgelord can be if they just restructure their joke.
Yeah. But we're trying to produce. We're a non-profit. Stomping Ground Comedy is a non-profit. And they do a real good work with. I mean, they run this program called Improv for Anxiety, right?
Oh,
which is supposed to give you tools to sort of like help your anxiety by doing improv.
Yeah.
For me, improv is anxiety.
Yeah, yes. Exactly.
we go to staff meetings and they'll be like, okay, let's all get into the mood by doing a couple of games. And I'm like, fuck no, get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like usually the only non-improviser there. Even the people who do stand-up comedy or sketch, they've got an improv background. So I'm kind of very much in the minority. But it's a great place. So they do that, and they do like improv for caregivers, which is to give people who spend time looking after people who are ill or have Alzheimer's or something, an hour to sort of get out of the house and get out of themselves. And they're and like all of the money, we're a 503 C corporation that sort of all the money gets plowed back into the business that isn't spent in costs. And we don't generally we're not able to pay our comics very much. It's usually just gas money, if that. I mean, our artistic director always talks about how, if you train, if you do their 6 levels of improv, you can go into a career where you make ones of tens of dollars for your performances. But so it's not like one of the corporate clubs. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, I will take stage time anywhere I can get it. I'll perform in any comedy club in Dallas, but I love being a part of this one because it kind of approaches it in a different way.
Yeah.
So, so as part of that, we kind of like we're very much into diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we want to sort of like send out comics that we train that aren't going to be telling jokes that Joe Rogan would like. We're a different kind of outfit, so it's been important for at the core of all of our sort of teaching is we want to have comedy be something that enlightens and sort of embraces. And is inclusive rather than being something that divides.
What?
I don't know how I did that. Sorry.
I don't know why you did that.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I was trying to mute it for a second, but I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, that's really cool, man. That's a really good gig. Yeah. I had no idea you were doing that. And you're just helping these young upcoming comics.
And you're just starting. Essentially, you're helping them develop their comedy bones. And then when they go off from you to open mics, they're developing their muscles.
Yeah.
And that's just fucking cool. You never know who you're training next and teaching next. And they always remember you. Because we interviewed Precious Chong, and she taught comedy courses. And Linda Camacho was saying how much it helped her, help her self-esteem, help her, to grow. And I really think that you're doing such a fucking fab job. That's so cool.
Thank you. I mean, that's how I started. I mean, like when I had my midlife crisis a few years ago, I've been doing comedy. This fall will be 4 years. And I started off by doing a class at a local club, Dallas Comedy House. It died during the pandemic, and it's sorely missed. It was a great club, but they had a training center, and I work with my first teacher now. We hosted an open mic together for a bit, and I see him around, and I book him, and he books me, and
that's cool.
It's like he's.
Did we freeze?
Somebody froze.
Oh.
But he taught me the basics of joke structure. And I think that doing that class is the reason that I'm still in comedy, because I didn't have to figure it all out on my own. And anybody can sort of like do open mics and work out the hard way that you need to spend some time writing. Then you go by Judy Carter's Comedy Bible and you work through it and you figure it out. Well, some people never do because, I don't have any aspirations to be a working comic. I'm a married man. I got a 12-year-old daughter. I need to keep my day job. I can't I can't move to New York to try and make it. I mean, it's like, I can't move to LA. I can't go on the road taking host gigs for $50 a night and living in my car. That's sort of like off the table. So I consider myself like a serious hobbyist. But you've got some people who are content just to be open mic comics. They go down to the local open mics. They tell a few dick jokes, and then they tell all their friends they're a comedian. I don't think they're entitled. I mean, look, I'm not going to police the use of the title comedian, but I don't think I don't think that's it. You know what I mean? I think there are far too many people, and like you've seen this on the Zooms. You've got people who just come on and they just ramble about their day and
oh yeah,
key topics, genitals, how many
yeah.
And their body count in terms of sexual partners. I mean, it's just like, and then you can only hear so many of those before you want to, slit your throat. But
Definitely, yep.
But then you've got some gems out there. Like you two always do a bang up job of telling thoughtful jokes that you've obviously put time into.
Thank you for noticing.
But yeah, well, I mean, it's just the pandemic was the worst thing that's happened in my lifetime. Don't get me wrong; it's like it was awful.
Mm-hmm.
So many people died. So many people lost their jobs. It threw the country into chaos. But the sort of silver lining to that was all the comedians that went on to Zoom because they desperately needed an outlet for their comedy, and all of the community that I've met. And I've
absolutely.
I've done a couple of festivals since the pandemic. Well, it's not over, but since we sort of got back out there, and I went to Burbank last August, and I got to
wow.
I got to meet a couple of dozen of these people that I'd only ever seen in a little box on the screen. I was like, I met Walter Gottlieb, this guy out of Maryland, who's always been a favorite of mine. And then a bunch of people that Dat fan.
Wow.
You got to meet Dat fan. That's cool.
I'm a Dat fan disciple.
Dat fan.
He does this show. No, I'm a friend. Like he's got this show that he still does on Zoom 3 times a week called Dat Fan and Friends. I'm a regular.
That's cool. I've done it a few times, but not for a while.
What this dude has done is he has built a comedy club in his garage.
Wow.
It's full. It's got a stage. He's got the capacity to sort of integrate Zoom into it. He's got an audience area. And when I was out there at the Burbank Comedy Festival, I went out to his house to do his show. So,
wow! So he does shows in his garage, and people come.
He does shows in his garage, but it's not just like some dude in his garage. He's turned it into a club.
That's cool. That's the dream right there.
That's what we wanted to do before the pandemic.
Yeah, so he's got and so he's sort of talking about building on, knocking a wall down so he can have some more seats in, so he can get some. And right now it's mainly comics, but the guy you remember, Sam, if you've done his shows before, he's very particular. He wants people to sort of have their cameras on all the time.
Yeah,
he wants people to concentrate. I was looking down. I was eating some pizza while I was doing a show of his last week, and I was trying to be discreet, and I was bending down and taking a bite. and he sent me a picture of myself, a screenshot of me bending down, and he was like, "Are you okay, David?" Um, and I responded, "That I'm discreetly trying to eat pizza." He's like, "Pizza's fine, but don't be discreet. Just eat it on screen." And
Oh,
so
interesting. Yeah, because I know he does. He's very big on not having distractions. Like he does not want you to put your pets in the screen, like
yeah,
things like that. Like no distractions at all, because everybody should be focused on the comedian that's performing. Like a lot of people think he's strict and harsh, but I mean, there's a rhyme to the reason, or whatever it's called. You know,
That's his club
there's a
rules.
method to the madness, and if you don't like it, then just don't associate with him. You know, but I think he's very fair.
do you want to know a really funny story about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you all know Ed Smythe, of course, right?
Oh
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so Ed Smythe was making his debut on Dat Fan and Friends on a show that I was on, and what that does is he will take anybody to do like a 4 minute audition set, and so Ed Smythe shows up and he's not wearing any strange costume. He's sitting in this room with all these chintzy curtains, and he looks perfectly normal. But then at some point, he moves off camera, and that's like, if you need to go to the bathroom or get a snack, leave your camera on. Don't take us with you. Leave your camera on. Come back. So at some point, Ed goes off and gets into his caveman costume.
He's
Um,
the best character. I love that character so much.
Og, son of Og, and so that's the one. I'm like, and before this, I thought, what is he? Is he going to do straight comedy? Is he just going to do? But no, he got dressed, and Dad couldn't handle it. He was so distracted by, and I kept saying he was like really agitated, and then Ed got up and did his routine when it was his turn, and then basically he's that unloaded he didn't say anything when Ed was there, but at the next show he was like, we had this guy, he dressed as a caveman, he was so distracted. He's like, he was just in the screen and nobody was paying attention to the comics, and there was, and they like, fair
Oh,
enough.
because he had to keep his camera on, and usually Ed will keep his camera off until his set.
Exactly,
For
so
that reason, probably, so people will just stare at him.
he was just sitting there like caveman in the Zoom window.
Wow,
So yeah, it was a trip. It really was.
that's hilarious.
Oh
That's
wow.
hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I like that fan. I would do his show in person too. Like I said, he has rules and he's a little bit strict, and if you don't like it, then just don't do his stuff. Really, it's his stuff, and he can run it any way he wants.
Yeah, but no disrespect to anybody else. You'll do a great Zoom show. I ran a mic like I did 70 of them during the pandemic. I thought I did a good Zoom show, but that fan
Yeah,
does the
absolutely.
best Zoom show. I mean, sometimes you get audience, but he kind of like, he kicks audience out if they misbehave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and the thing is, oh, go ahead.
normally it's just the comics, but it's like they all pay attention, and it is the best place I know to try out new material,
And if you
because
want to
you
record yourself on Zoom, it's the best place to do it because the comics are attentive and paying attention and laughing.
yeah, so you get laughter and you get those sort of you get those endorphins going, and it's really,
Yeah.
it just, yeah, I mean, I make time every week to do. I'm doing one. I'm doing one this
I
afternoon.
should I should now I'm nostalgic. I feel like I should contact him and try to do one of his shows.
Yeah, do
Um,
it.
so I did an online mic for like almost 3 years during this pandemic, and I was doing it for a while before I really got to know Dat Fan and started doing his stuff. But I feel like I really, I mean, I wasn't like strict and kick people out and stuff, but I feel like I really like adopted some of his structure with the mic, and I feel like seeing the way he ran his mic made me a better mic runner myself.
Yeah. No, I did totally agree. I started doing his mic when I was still running mine, and it's sort of, yeah, because it's just like it's basic politeness. And like if you go to an open mic in a live venue, and you're gonna sort of like be sitting there waiting to go up, and then you go up and perform. Half of the comics are at the bar, half
Yep.
of the comics are outside having a smoke. The ones that are in the room are probably hunched over their notebooks, like looking at their own material.
Yep. And or just talking to each other.
You rarely get any civilians who are there to actually watch. It's all very, so the idea of sort of like wasting 2-3 hours on that kind of experience, or worse yet, I mean, people sort of like try and hit 3 mics a night, so they're in and they're out, and they don't respect the other comics.
Yeah, I've seen that a
It's
lot
like,
too.
so this is like I will do that fan over a live mic most of the time, because even though it's on Zoom and some of the things like work differently, like the technique, you have to remember to sort of like deliver the camera rather than sort of yeah, but it's just it is and certainly for the LA comics who get to go in studio, it's great. I mean, he has a devoted following, and it's for a very good reason, because the man is an example. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a top-notch comic who has really embraced the community, and he's got this sort of like group. I mean, he has 700, 800 comics in his database, but he has about 70 people who come through regularly and do it, every week or every other week. And it's just like we've all sort of got to know each other. Anyway, I met a bunch of those folks when I was out in LA for the Burbank Festival.
Wonderful.
And it was just like, seeing these people in the flesh that all I'd seen is in a little box on a screen was a marvelous experience.
I can't wait for us to be able to have more
Yeah,
of
me
those.
too.
It's always so fun. I always get the
Yeah.
weirdest like things like, oh, I didn't expect you to look like that, or stuff like that. Like you saw me on screen a lot.
I know. The one thing that a lot of people don't get about me, because all they've ever seen is my head and shoulders, is I'm actually 6'7" tall.
Holy
Wow,
crap.
you're 6'7"?
I'm 6'7".
Whoa.
Wow.
I'm 6'7". I'm 350 pounds. I'm a big guy.
Oh
and
my gosh.
So
people don't necessarily.
you're security off the bat.
I used to work. I used to be a bouncer in college.
Wow.
I worked at a local nightclub. There was like they tended to hire people from the rugby team, and I wasn't on the rugby team, but I was friends with some of them, so I got a job. And I never had to sort of like do anything physical, because like the air of sort of menace that a tall and pretty well bulky guy convey is usually enough. But
The intimidation factor, absolutely.
I used to hate working with the short bouncers because they were like aggro. They got something to prove. The little guys who pumped a lot of iron and probably took some steroids and were just like itching to sort of like prove how tough they were. Nightmare to work with. It's like, whereas I could sort of like, if there was a drunk patron, I could sort of convince him to leave, with a stern look and a word. The little guys are like, come on, all right, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah. As in a past life, I was a bouncer. So
Dang.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Man, being tall sounds so fun.
I can't imagine. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Sam.
I was saying, I can't imagine you being like just like menacing, like intimidating.
You see, I work really hard to give off a vibe of not being intimidating. Like
you look like young Santa. like Santa before he accepted his Santa-ly duties, you know? You know what
You
I'm
see
saying?
that? But on a dark night, walking down a dimly lit street, I do not. So it's sort of like I have people cross the street to avoid walking past me because it's
Oh,
just
whoa.
sometimes. So like when I meet people in person, I really want to like de-emphasize my height. I don't slouch or anything, but I've developed this sort of like bubbly, cuddly personality that is sort of supposed to detract from the air of menace that I could provide. So,
We've been watching Night Court, the old Night Court.
oh, cool.
We're obsessed, but we've been watching the old Night Court. And there was an episode where one of the characters, Bull, who's like the really tall bailiff, and he was like, everybody looks at me like I'm this big old monster, and I'm just this scary thing. I'm not a beast. And then everybody's like all scared because he's so like passionate saying it, and then he goes, ah.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because you don't think about that tall people would have to like be present in a more gentler way because just being tall is like menacing.
I try not to like raise my voice. Like I don't yell. I'm not a yeller. Like I've worked in law firms. I worked at the same law firm for 20 years, and I've encountered my fair share of screamers. Lawyers don't have a great reputation sometimes for being easy to work with, but I've always, bent over backwards to be nice to people. And so, like, I want to convey, and that's what I try and do on stage as well. Like, my on stage persona isn't far different from how I am in real life, but I really try and accentuate the niceness. So I don't have an angry. If I had an angry comedy style,
The place will
that
just
would
run
be,
out the room screaming.
yeah. I mean that would work to my disadvantage. So I tell sort of whimsical jokes. I sort of lean a lot on the Englishness, and I talk a lot about my kid. I'm like, yeah, I got a 12-year-old. She's just starting to sort of like, well, we've been in the preteen years for a bit now, but she's just starting to like, I work hard, so I don't. My wife does an awful lot of the sort of like hands-on, so I'm like, I think she sees me as the soft touch parent a bit, and I'm also kind of like with the law practice and everything else I do, I'm not. So I've started to sort of like carve out like one day a week I pick her up from school and I take her for a snow cone. It's our little thing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And we didn't have a chance this week because I had meetings and she had some stuff after school. So we did it yesterday. I took her out for dinner to the local Jason's Deli. We both liked the salad bar, and then we went for a snow cone. We had a nice long chat. And she was like telling me, she's like, why is mom so much of a hard ass? I'm like, well, because she's always talking, she's always trying to get Sarah to get off her iPad and do something constructive, and she's like, I hate her. I'm like, well, it's like, I'm like, you don't hate your mother, you love your mother. And she's like, she won't ever let me. She just like always wants to. She's a control freak, and I'm like, this is kind of like this is a parenting moment. This is sort of like, and I'm not going to tolerate like her talking smack about her mom, but I also didn't want to come off as being an asshole, so I didn't want to close down. I wanted her to feel comfortable talking to me.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, your mother loves you. She's got your best interests at heart. I know it's hard. And also I realize that like right now, like early teens, girls tend to sort of butt heads with their mothers. But then when they get a little bit older, it tends to be the dad that gets the headbutting. And so in a couple of years, she'll be hating me. Because And I was telling her this, and I'm like, you say you hate your mum now, you're going to hate me in a couple of years. Because, I'm not, you think I'm a soft touch because you think I'm the fun parent, but me and your mother are on exactly the same page. You are on your iPad too much. And then she's sort of like, she's angling. She really badly wants a smartphone. She wants an iPhone so bad. And we're not going to let her have one because, I'm in total agreement with my wife that a 12-year-old does not need like a powerful supercomputer in their pocket because I don't want that kid anywhere near TikTok. I mean, I try and do the social media. I've got a TikTok account. I think my best viewed video has like 600 views. I'm terrible at it, but
nice.
While I'm on there, like it throws up sort of like you may want to see this video, and for some reason they show me sometimes like I don't know what 14-year-olds twerking, and I'm like I don't want to see 14-year-olds twerking. I really don't, and I especially don't want to see my 14-year-old twerking.
Yeah, exactly. When I first years and years ago when I first saw TikTok advertising stuff, I mean that was what all the advertisements were. It's like little kids like trying to be all sexy, and it was like this is such a weird thing. And then when it started popping up in the comedy community, I was like, what's going on here? But I guess you could do whatever you want with it, but that's what they were kind of banking on in the beginning, I think.
I like the animal videos.
Yeah,
that's my addiction.
I
will watch a freaking 3-minute video all the way through about a freaking pigeon that just fell out of a tree and is getting mended back to health, and look, this pigeon was able to pigeon again. That's my thing. That's my addiction on TikTok.
Pigeons got a pigeon, right?
Right.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, I was kind of blown away when all these comics were putting like sets and or jokes on TikTok, and that became like all the rage during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's what I appreciated during that time, because it really showed a lot of the time what comedians were really embracing two things: the ability to become flexible and the ability to step up and make their own opportunities.
Yeah, think outside the box a little bit.
And as a producer, and I think maybe you relate to this too, David, is like as a producer, you're always watching people because you never know who's like out there, and you're like, damn, that I want to book that one.
Yeah.
Like you're always watching, you're always on the look, because if you don't have a show that you would recommend that one to somebody.
Oh yeah. It's like there's so many people trying to do comedy. And Dallas is like we've got 3 or 4 of the big corporate clubs in town. We've got Hyenas, we've got an Improv, we've got the Plano House of Comedy, we've got Dallas Comedy Club. Mm-hmm. We've got a bunch of decent venues. We've got an awful lot of open mics in bars. We got bar shows. Mm-hmm. We've got plenty, but there are like hundreds of comedians trying to make it, and you've got to find some way to differentiate yourself. Yeah. And I totally admire. I've kind of like the path that I chose to cut is I've got like connected with this nonprofit, Stomping Around Comedy. Go to stompingaroundcomedy.org if you want to find out more. And so that's like my home base. But I also sort of like a network, and people know. And one of the things I've been trying to teach my class is being funny is important in comedy, but being a professional is almost more important, because everybody can be funny. Everybody can get a crowd laughing if they've got the basic comedy ability. Yeah. But what bookers appreciate is showing up on time. If call time is 7:30, be there at 7:30. Don't waltz in 5 minutes before the show. Mm-hmm. Give the host your intro. Make it easy for the host to be able to put you up. And don't ever, under any circumstances, run the light. I mean, it's just teaching the basics of professionalism.
Yeah.
I got a reputation for being not only funny but professional. So people book me because they know I'm not going to flake on them. They know I'm not going to sort of like call them up half an hour before the show and say, "Hey, I can't do it." They know I'm going to be there on time, and they know I'm going to stick around and be supportive of the other comics.
Yeah, exactly. That's a key
So
component too.
It is, yeah.
yeah,
Because if you book somebody, they leave early all the time. You're probably not going to book them as much.
well, what people don't realize, what a lot of comics don't realize, is that comedy is a business,
Yeah.
and it's like you want to make money by making people laugh. You want to sort of you want to be a place where people think, last time I went there, I had a great show. Every comic on the bill was funny. It was wonderful. We were in and out on time. The food and drinks were good. And so, when you're taking a booking from a club, you have got to be business minded. You've got to make sure that you get along. And, I during the pandemic, one of the comedy clubs that sort of like had a really good online presence was Flappers down in Bank.
Yeah, they did.
And I did a bunch of shows with Flappers. I auditioned, they had the online auditions, and I did a bunch of their online shows. And I've been there every time I go to LA. I try and get some stage time there. And Josh, the booker, is usually very accommodating if he can be.
Yes.
But sort of like they're like they are all about professionalism, and they have a training center there. They call it Flappers University, or FU.
I like it.
And they're the guy who runs the training center there puts out a weekly newsletter, which is all about it's like tips how to make it in comedy. And that's a great read. I advise anybody to sort of like go somewhere and give them your email and get on that mailing list, because it's a really good read, full of tips on how to make it, how to produce your own shows, how to get rebooked, how to communicate with bookers. But what a lot of comics, what's holding a lot of comics back is the inability to view this as a business.
Yeah, I guess
I just think being funny is enough.
But it's good that those things are available as a resource, because I remember when I first started, I didn't really have any resources and I kind of just had to do it on the fly. And I feel like I could have cut a lot of like unnecessary struggle with just some basics, starting with just some basics.
So that's another plug. I mean, like, I'm not necessarily plugging my class, but if you're in Dallas, you're certainly most welcome. But take a class.
Yeah.
Most clubs of any size, sort of. I mean, in every city, there's going to be at least one place that offers training. And although people see stand-up as this, like, lone wolf kind of thing, that you either have the ability or you don't. Yeah. I think that's entirely wrong. Right. I think that you need to be funny, but you also can benefit from being taught not only joke structure and how to, conduct yourself on stage, but also how to conduct yourself as a businessman.
Yeah.
It's like a business person. I mean, just the basics of professionalism. So I will consider myself a success as a teacher if my students leave the class with type 5 that they can perform, that's legit funny, but that they also know how to conduct themselves so they're able to get bookings.
And it's like, you're not teaching them just the joke structure, but you're also teaching them like comedy etiquette.
Yeah. Like how not to piss off bookers, how not to piss off and don't expect that, like, you go, okay, so you do your 5-minute showcase and your friends all laugh at you. You're not going to get a call from Saturday Night Live the next day. You're not going to get a Netflix special. You're going to have to do a bunch of open mics and try and catch someone's eye, do some guest spots, and just work your way up. And, I bet you of this class, there's probably, of 18 people, there's probably 2 or 3 who are going to take it seriously and go on. Some people just want to do it to say they've done it. Oh, I did it. It was scary. I'm not doing that again. Some people, but the serious ones are gonna take some of the lessons on board, and then they're gonna go out and they're gonna become productive members of the Dallas comedy community, and that'll be a success. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of them around.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then you never know which one of those people, like, they see another comedy person and they take them under their wing and they're kind of teaching the same principles. So it's almost like a really good supportive effect. I feel like when the community is supportive of each other, it really makes the whole thing thrive. I mean, you don't always have to be over there patting someone on the back, but you could just like be cordial.
I mean, look, comedy could be. I mean, there's only a limited number of spots in any city, right?
Mm-hmm.
On any given night. So we're all in competition with each other. But it's just, I don't believe that the right way to go about being a success in this business is to trample on my competitors. Like, I want to lift other comics up. And, the chance I got like I book a show a month pretty much. Sometimes 2, sometimes I don't do I skip a month, but I try and like book a diverse lineup of people of different. I mean, look, there's a big sort of imbalance sometimes between men and women, and this is like time immemorial in comedy. You get like a couple of women and 10 men on a showcase. I don't do that. I try and have some kind of gender balance. I try and make my lineups racially balanced. I try and book comics from different racial backgrounds.
Yeah, a lot of diversity.
Yeah,
it's there. Right. Like, it's there.
There's enough, right? There's enough comics, exactly.
Exactly. I mean, look, nobody needs another lineup of all white men. It's just, and I like.
There's not a shortage.
There's not a shortage. There is not a shortage, and I don't always do it, but I host quite a lot of my shows. So I love being in the host position.
I do too. I love hosting as well.
It's like because it's I think, and I'm not one of some hosts like to throw in a callback or something. I'll do that occasionally, but normally I just want to build up. I want to get the credits or whatever the comic wants for their intro, and I want to build up the audience. Like, I'll do a short set and sort of warm up the room, and then every comic gets a kick-ass intro from me. Like, it's an art. It really is, of sort of like pumping the crowd up for the next comic. And I want like any comic that's on a show that I'm producing to succeed in that room. I want them to have as good a shot as possible at getting a killer set in there. And if you're walking out on stage to applause from a host that's from an audience that's been pumped up by a host that knows what they're doing, I think that's a great way to start.
Oh yeah,
but, absolutely.
Really setting them up for success.
I'm not able to pay my comics in the main. I will throw them some gas money if I can. But I get people come back time and time again because they enjoy working with me.
Yeah,
and it's a good place to get reps in. I mean, it's stage time. Everybody wants stage time, and it's just like I want to be remembered as somebody who added to the comedy scene. Who if Like we had a local comedian and producer die rather suddenly a couple of weeks ago. Zach Sprung, I'll call him that, and he was a great guy. He loved comedy and he loved comedians, and he was always wanting to help people. The amount of people who got their first paid gig from Zach is incredible, and we were all extremely sad. So I had a show sort of the day after, and he died suddenly. And I had a show the day after he died where it was called 50 First Jokes, 50 comics, first 1 minute, first joke of the year. It was like the first Saturday in January, and
Wow, that's cool.
but when I went out to sort of like introduce the show and kick things off, I asked for a moment of thought for Zach and his family, and I dedicated the show to him because that's what everybody had a Zach story, and that's how I want to be remembered. When I go, that I sort of like that I made the scene better, that
Yeah.
I left it a little better than I found it.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest compliment anyone could pay to me.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I like that. I like the feeling of I don't know, that sense of community and that you contribute in a positive way. And I know that it's hard to be positive sometimes around a lot of people that are really not going through the best moments of their life. That's why they've been drawn to comedy half the time. But I think knowing that, okay, even if I'm not like really close to you as a comedian, I'll still help you out if you need it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're a club, we're a community.
Yeah,
We're
that's a good way to look at it.
it's just I want to lift up other comics because look, if I sort of get a gig by elbowing somebody else out of the way, I don't want that gig. I would rather see somebody else get that stage time than have to be than fail to be true to myself in the way that I deal with people. So I'm a straight shooter. I mean, and I think it helps is that like I'm kind of like comfortable with my comedy goal is to be a reliable local feature. And if I can get there in 10 years, that would be. I have no aspirations to be on Saturday Night Live. I have no aspirations to headline. I just want to tell jokes, and I want people to think. If they need a reliable feature, I want them to think of me. And I'm not there yet. I've got like I could probably string a 40-minute set together if we wanted to be totally tight. I'm really comfortable at the 15-20 minute kind of mark. I've got lots of stuff to choose from in terms of my material.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to work, and I've been trying to impress my students. Write every day, every single day. Even those days you don't feel funny, even those days you don't, just 10 minutes. And if you can't think of anything to write, start making lists of things that you might be able to write. Sort of like just take a subject and write down everything you can think about it and try and make connections.
That's good. I like that idea.
See if you can develop a premise out of and then come back to it on a day that you do feel like writing. But every day you should sit down in some dedicated time and just sort of practice the craft of comedy.
Oh man, that's exciting. I feel like so excited for you because it's such a good like relationship you're going to have when you're teaching your students because I mean, of course they're going to be learning from you, but it almost is going to help you generate more jokes for yourself, because one, you have to be more attentive to like your jokes that you see in normal life, but also to like how your students are reacting in class. I'm pretty sure they make you laugh just being the way they act or something like that. So
Yeah, of
that's
course they
so
do.
fun.
They actually like, okay, so I've got a joke that I do this sort of like, I do this bit about marriage sex that's been in my act. It's been my like opener for a while. And one of the things I say is like, uh married sex with a 12-year-old in the house is like not as great. That's the whole sort of thesis of the bit. But I got this one line that's like, we don't Netflix and chill, we Disney Plus and guilt trip. So when I was like going through the exercise showing a writing technique to the students, I actually I told them that I'd got that joke. Well, I told them that I had a joke about, a married with kids alternative to Netflix and chill. So I broke it down and I wrote like streaming services on one side of the dry erase board and things married couples with children do on the other side. And so we made these two lists together. And then I actually got 2 tags for my own joke out of that.
Yeah,
Oh wow,
So,
that's fun. That's
nice.
awesome.
so we came up with Hulu and I've got a headache and Peacock and No Cock.
Nice.
So it's like, see, I got stuff from my act from the class.
Wonderful. That's exactly what I'm saying. I feel like that's going to be so fun and exciting for you.
Yeah, like a whole new world that you never knew existed.
So that's it. I mean, like, being a married man with a kid and a job, I've got a limited amount of time to devote to comedy in any given week. So I've kind of like put some of the performing on the back burner to do this teaching gig.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I'm okay with that.
It
Like,
seems very rewarding. Absolutely.
yeah, I want to perform, and yeah, I people who might be listening to this in Dallas, I am available for bookings.
Hell yeah.
I really, and I'm good and I'm professional. I've got a bunch of material. It's PG-13 in the main. I don't go full blue usually. I can work clean. I did my first corporate gig last year. That was a trip.
Hell yeah.
I did like, I discovered, and so this is like the business side of me, showing up in comedy. I found out that a local chamber of commerce in one of the cities close to Dallas, a place called Terrell, which is about 30 miles away, was having they had a link to Britain in that, in World War II, there was a flight school there that trained British pilots.
Whoa.
And so the Chamber of Commerce was putting on a British bash one weekend, which had a street market, and food trucks, and they had booked a Beatles cover band to perform. So I found out who the director of events was for the Chamber of Commerce, and I sent them an email with my resume and a clip and a pitch that they might want to hire me to open for the Beatles band. And they hired me.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that is so rad.
So I got it, and then they asked me, what my price was, and I was like, so I had to think about it, and I gave them a moderate. I thought it was a bit of a reach and would be able to negotiate,
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, that sounds great. So I'm like, damn, I should have asked them more. But it's like, yeah, I'd love to move, and I'd love to do some more corporate work. Because that, but then again, my aim is not to make the most money I can out of comedy. If I can make comedy be a break even kind of thing for me, I do this for the love of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lawyer. I'm always going to be a lawyer. But being a lawyer who's a comedian, I mean, this is where I get the joy out of my life.
Yeah.
Uh, it's sort of. I think I've always had this creative spark that I needed an outlet for. And so that's why my midlife crisis manifested itself like this, is that I wanted to have the ability to put my like creative soul into something. And it's pretty hard to do that when you're a corporate lawyer. You know,
Yeah.
you
You could do
can't make
you could do the corporate lawyer and the corporate comedy in the same day
yeah.
for the same party.
That was cool, but almost it's like I crossed that off the list now. Like I've done corporate bookings, and I'll do them again. I don't mind making money, but what I really love is making people laugh and making people feel better. Because
Oh
sometimes,
yeah. That's the best. That's like the part that I really love, because I remember being in a comedy show watching the comedian, and I can feel just like in the crowd how that felt, and that feeling of just like forgetting all the things that you worry about just for that moment, that person's set, and just like feeling it all the way through. I wanted to give that to other people, and that's why I love comedy, is because I love giving them that moment where they're just like the worry brain is off, and they're
yes,
just like letting themselves enjoy happy.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And that's why I don't want to be an edgelord. That's why I don't want to be an insult comic. That's why I don't. I will do it, but I don't really enjoy roast battles.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I
kind
don't
of
know if I
like
can. I've never done it. I don't know if I can.
The fan of
it's a,
hurting feelings.
oh I can because I've been a lot, and you know
Yeah, that's true.
I like to win as a lawyer, but you know I also win with dignity and by not being an asshole. Like
Yeah.
you can advocate for your client without sort of trying to destroy the other person on the other side of the lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's that's one thing that I've learned over practice, and then that's not so very different from comedy. You can sort of like be funny and make people laugh, um, but you can do that by sort of skewering other people, but you don't have to. You can take a milder, you can take a much sort of gentler approach. And
Yeah.
that's how I like to think of my comedy as like quirky and sort of some of it's self-deprecating, but it's also like I want it to be relatable. I talk a lot. A lot of my new material is about how I relate to my kid, and it's just sort of that's a universal thing
Yeah.
for
A lot of
people
people
with
can relate to that.
parents.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Other people can relate to that, and they also and a lot of people sort of like they kind of like the English, so they like hearing stories or sort of my English perspective on and that's more what I do, like my English perspective on America. But it's sort of like I've got this kind of unique. I straddle both worlds. Like I've almost spent half my life here.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's so crazy that you said half your life here, half your life there, pretty much.
but all my time here has been as an adult. Like I grew up in England, so I'm thoroughly English. And yet I'm also sort of very Texan in many ways. And yeah, Texas gets a bad rap. I mean, our governor's an asshole. We've got the attorney general who's a crook, but like Texan people, you will not find you'll go a long way to find a more welcoming and caring folk than Texans.
Wow.
They're generous of spirit and welcoming. They're real stand up guys. And I think you know a lot of people. Texas is getting a bad rap nationwide for some of its politics. But if you try and sort of like leave the politics aside and look at it on a human level, There's an awful lot. A lot of people want to come to Texas. There's a lot of people move here. We're a
Yeah.
Well, the
keeper of
comedy scene's really like booming in Austin
I
right
was
now.
just gonna mention
yeah,
that I mean, you've been there for what I think you said 22 years. So
yeah.
you got to witness it before people started moving over there. I feel like you guys probably had an influx of a lot of, transplants during the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh,
maybe that's why you got the bad rap because now you've got a nice little uh how would you call it, invasion?
Outsiders?
well, all right. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of Californians have been moving
Yeah.
because we got like a business friendly environment, and
It was a lot more lax during the pandemic, from what I understand, too.
And then your
it
comedy might have
was
got boom big.
like everything shut down for a few months, but like the comedy clubs started opening back up in like June. Some of them June, July of 2020, and I didn't go out until 2021. I
Yeah, neither
started,
did we, but yeah, that's crazy.
but there were people going out, and I'm like, dudes, I pretty much sort of like hibernated for that first year, and then I started once the vaccines were in, I felt a little bit because I'm a big guy. I got some hypertension. I got generally I'm a 50-year-old overweight male, and I've got the usual 50-year-old overweight male stuff. And like I didn't want to end up on a ventilator, so I just stayed home for that first year. But
Yeah.
then when we got the vaccines, it's been, and now it's kind of like I think almost everywhere is like this now, but it's almost like the pandemic never happened. I mean, we're almost back to normal.
Almost,
Yeah.
yeah. It is almost like that.
Hmm.
Nobody wears masks around here anymore. The only place I
Yeah.
ever wear a mask is my doctor's office.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say I went to the doctor last week and you have to wear a mask in the building and they're all wearing masks and everything. But as far as that goes, like nobody really else is.
yeah, right. Stores don't require it anymore.
Yeah.
I like it right now because it keeps my face warm. It's cold outside.
So we didn't really dive into the first half of your life in England, but I do want to ask you, have you had a chance to go back in the last few years and do comedy there?
I have not. So that did we every time I've been over. Well, look, I started comedy like uh before the pandemic, and then I sort of didn't have a trip there, and then we had the pandemic, and the clubs were shut down over there.
Yeah,
So
no, that's true.
I have not had the occasion to be able to do comedy in England, but what I want to do, we are going for 6 weeks in the summer. I'm going to work remotely for part of it. I'm going to take some time off, but my kid is off school. My wife has negotiated some, a leave of absence from work, and we're going to go. We've rented a cute little farmhouse that's not far from where my sister lives, and I have two nieces that I don't ever get to see except on Zoom. So we're going to go over there for 6 weeks next summer,
Oh, that's
and,
awesome. Yeah.
Wonderful.
and
Oh,
I'm
how
going to hit
fun.
up. I'm going to hit up all the local clubs. My sister lives in the countryside, but it's only about 20 miles from Birmingham, which is the big city I grew up in, or the biggest city. I grew up in a small town called Tipton, which is about 10 miles from Birmingham. It's almost like a suburb. But I'm going to try and get a Birmingham comedy club. I'm going to send some tape over and see if I can't get a guest spot somewhere, because I'd really like my family and English friends to have the opportunity to see me perform.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
incredible.
They've watched me on Zoom. Like I had my dad, one of my early Zoom shows. It was at a time. I deliberately set a time so it would be a early. It was like a Sunday afternoon at 4, so it's 10 o'clock in England. And so my brother-in-law came, my sister came, my dad came, a couple of friends, and my dad he didn't appreciate the how comedy shows worked, and I was telling a funny story about him, and he decided to interrupt and correct me.
Oh,
Oh, no! You got
So
heckled. Oh,
I got heckled by my father, and I had to shut him down a little bit.
oh no!
And I said, Dad, this isn't a dialogue. This isn't a conversation. If you do this again, I'm going to have to mute you. And I said, but ladies and gentlemen, if you are, because this is in the middle of the pandemic, and people were like, England's doing so much better than we are. I'm like, if you want to move to England, my father is available for marriage proposals. He's a widowed guy. I'm like, so if any of you ladies or gentlemen, I think he's open-minded enough. So I sort of like shut my dad down with a little sort of, so I got everybody laughing at him. And
like a little roast.
Yeah, a little gentle roast, and he didn't interrupt anymore.
That's awesome. I hope you do get on some clubs out there. It sounds like that'd be a really good time for you and for your family. That's awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to it very much.
Hell yeah. Well, we could talk forever and stuff, and we could dive into your UK stuff. So we'll definitely have to talk to you again. But thank you so much for joining us.
You are more than welcome. It's been a pleasure. You two are two of my very favorite people. You're a great comedy couple. You're pillars of our online comedy community, and it is my absolute pleasure to be on your podcast. Thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to the day when I'd love to meet you in person. So
absolutely,
we've got to make that happen at some point.
Yeah,
I want to picture. I got a wall with pictures on of comics I've met in real life from Zoom, and I want to add you to that wall. So let's make that happen at some point.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely, hell yeah. You want to plug your social media real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. I update it fairly often. I made the mistake of not having a business page, so just David J. Parsons. You'll find me there. David James Parsons, I think. Just Google that. Look that up on Facebook. You'll find me. And all my other social media is at D Parsons Comedy. So you'll find that on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. Although I'm not really a social media guru. But just look me up. But I usually post all my gigs on Facebook, which reposts automatically on Instagram. So follow me on either of those. Nice. And one more plug for Stomping Ground Comedy. Yes. If you want to go see a show or learn some improv or some stand-up, go to stompinggroundcomedy.org. Wonderful organization that I'm thrilled to be a part of. And I really think that you can do far worse than look to them for any of your performance or training needs.
That's exciting too. I can't wait to see what that brings for you in the future. Because you're just starting out, and so you're gonna be able to help some people out. You'll see it with the community. It's super fun. I'm excited for you.
Great to talk to you both. You have a wonderful rest of Sunday.
Likewise. Thank you very much. And you can find me at Funky Sam Medina across the board.
And I'm at She Shines For You, all spelled out, and Athena Rodriguez Comedy on Facebook.
And everything else is at Hypothetical Comedy. Hell yeah. Thank you again, David.
Thank you. Take care.